Welcome. In our fast-paced world, it feels like we're always looking for the shortcut, right? The quick fix. But what if I told you that some of the most powerful wisdom isn't about speed, but about patience? And today, we're going to explore a beautiful piece of that wisdom, a whole philosophy, really, held within just four ancient characters. In Chinese, there's this amazing type of phrase called a Chang. The best way to think of it is like a tiny, elegant vessel that carries a huge story inside. Exactly. Each one is like this little poem, packed with history or a bit of folklore, and it gives you this complete, rich idea in just four syllables. It's really language's art.
And here they are. These are the four characters we'll be diving into today. Let's just listen to how they sound. Xún Xù Jiàn Jìn. It's incredible, isn't it? Hidden right there in those brushstrokes is a timeless secret about how we learn, how we grow, and how we achieve real mastery in pretty much anything.
So, to really get what this phrase is all about, we can't just look at the whole thing. We need to take it apart piece by piece. Yeah, it's kind of like a little puzzle. We're going to look at each character one by one, and you'll see how each one reveals a new layer of meaning. Ready to start? Okay, our first character is Xún. It means to follow or to abide by. I want you to picture something like walking along a well-worn path in a forest, or the way a river naturally follows its course. It's this idea of respecting a process that's already there, a kind of natural law.
Next up, we have Su. This character means order or sequence. This really gets at the logic of things, that step one has to come before step two. It's so simple, but we forget it all the time. You have to build the foundation before you can even think about putting up the walls. Our third character is Jiàn, and this one is all about the idea of being gradual, of taking things step by step. And what's so beautiful is if you look closely at the character itself, you can see the symbol for water inside it. It just perfectly brings to mind this image of water slowly, slowly seeping into the earth, bit by bit. That's a kind of progress you just can't rush. And that brings us to our final character, Jin. This one simply means to advance or to move forward. This is the payoff. It's the result. This is the real, tangible progress you make when those first three characters are all working together in perfect harmony. So let's put them all together. What do we get? 循序渐进. It means to advance gradually by following the proper sequence. It's this profound wisdom of methodical, step-by-step progress. And it's such a powerful reminder that real growth, the kind that lasts, always values patience over speed.
Now, this idea is definitely not new. It's been around for a very long time. Its origins are usually credited to this brilliant scholar and educator from the southern Song Dynasty, a man by the name of Xu Shi. And he spent his entire life thinking about this exact question. What is the absolute best way to learn, to really grow? Xu Shi was convinced that learning without some kind of order was totally pointless, and he had this really vivid way of explaining it. He said that trying to learn everything all at once is like a starving man who runs into a restaurant and just starts grabbing and stuffing his face with everything he sees, but he never actually tastes or digests any of it. His point was so clear. Knowledge is like a great meal. You have to enjoy it one dish at a time. And there is a story that brings this idea to life better than almost anything else. It's about a man named Chang who lived a long, long time ago. And Chang had this one all-consuming dream. He wanted to become the greatest archer in the entire land. And to do that, he knew he had to find the legendary master Fei Wei. But when Chang finally found the master and presented himself, Fei Wei's first lesson was, well, it was a total surprise. He looked at this eager young student and said, "To learn archery, first you must learn not to blink." It had absolutely nothing to do with a bow and arrow. And so Chang's incredibly patient training began. For 2 solid years, he would lie under his wife's loom, just staring at the shuttle going back and forth, training his eyes never to blink. Once he'd mastered that, Fei Wei told him, "Now you must learn to see the small as large." So for years, Chang would tie a tiny insect to a string and just stare at it, until in his mind, it seemed as large as a cartwheel. It was only after he mastered his gaze and his perception that he was finally allowed to even touch a bow. That methodical patience, that is the perfect embodiment of Xún Xù Jiàn Jìn, and it's what turned him into a legend. Of course, this story is about so much more than just archery.
The archer's path is something we all walk. It really speaks to anyone who's ever tried to master a new skill, or build a career, or learn anything new at all. It's about all that slow, often invisible work that has to happen before any great achievement.
So, that really brings the question to us, doesn't it? How do we walk the archer's path in our own lives? In our constant rush for results, where do we need the wisdom of Xún Xù Jiàn Jìn the most?
You start looking for it and you see it everywhere. You know, learning a new language isn't about memorizing a dictionary overnight. It's about learning one new word and then one new sentence, day after day. Training for a marathon doesn't start with running 26 miles. It starts with that very first step out the door. Every single path to mastery is built on these small, patient, and sequential steps.
You might even hear this pop up in everyday advice. You know, someone might say to a friend who's getting frustrated, "Hey, I know you're eager to be fluent, but when you're learning a language, it's always best to 循序渐进." It's just a really gentle, wise way of saying, trust the process. Learn Chinese one story at a time.